in Council Chambers, 200 South Street, Morristown, New Jersey. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided according to law by written notice to the Morristown Daily Record, the official newspaper of the town of Morristown, and to the Newark Star Ledger, both more than 48 hours ago. Notice was also posted on the bulletin board at Town Hall and filed with the office of the town clerk of the town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public statement. Roll call. Councilman Armington?
Here.
Councilwoman Davis?
Here.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Here.
Councilman Elms?
Present.
Councilman Iannacone?
Here.
Council Silva?
Present.
Councilman Silva? Excuse
Present.
me. Council President Foster?
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence, please.
I would like us to all recognize or remember Dale Dees, who was a lifelong resident of Morristown, Second Ward resident. He died suddenly on Saturday. He, like I said, grew up here. He went to school here, and he became a really famous hairstylist, celebrity hairstylist, and he'll be missed.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask that we rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
There are 4 items on the consent agenda this evening. Councilman Iannacone has asked that item number 1, approval of minutes for the October 10th, 2019 redevelopment entity meeting, be pulled for further review. With that, I would ask for a motion to approve items 2, 3, and 4 of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 2, 3, and 4.
I'll second it.
Councilman Armington.
Here. Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Elms.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Council President Foster.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, before we get started with our public hearing, at this time, I would like to just make a statement on the record about the events that occurred at our last council meeting. As council president, I have to strike the right balance between maintaining decorum and allowing public to speak their free minds freely. I could have done a better job at the last meeting. Councilwoman Deeb has been on our council for 12 years and has been an active council person and has been active in her community. I was advised before the meeting that Councilwoman Deeb was sick and she was not going to attend the meeting. The comment I made was in no way meant for any type of offense to her or anyone else. I did call Councilwoman Deeb the next day and I spoke to her and apologized to her if she was offended. But I did want to make a statement for the record and apologize to anyone who may have taken offense or felt that it was deemed as offensive. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. We're going to hear from do we have anybody here from the Morristown Neighborhood House for the fiscal year 2020 CDBG application for school-age scholarships for low-income children?
That's me.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Pam DeMassey. I'm the Director of Grants and Program Development for Cornerstone Family Programs and Morristown Neighborhood House. We are submitting our Community Development Block Grant for 2020. It's an application for school-age scholarships for low-income children. Many of you are aware of the Morristown Neighborhood House. We have preschool and after-school programs, arts, recreation, education for more than 300 children every day. 200 are in our after-school program. The majority are low-income kids. The majority receive subsidy from Children and Family Resources. They don't receive the entire subsidy to attend the program, so they do have a copay, and sometimes they can't afford the copay, so these scholarships help those families, as well as families who don't meet the eligibility requirements for CFR, because you have to be working at a minimum of 30 hours. So for those families, the scholarships also assist those families to pay for the tuition in the after-school program while they try to find employment or go back to school for their degree. We are a Morris School District bus stop. The program runs from September to June. And this particular program is for, we've had an increase since last year, is for 50 low-income children. Does anybody have any questions about the grant application? I think you have the packets before you.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on behalf of this CDBG grant? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. At this time, I would like to open up the public hearing for any members of the public wishing to be heard before us on this evening. If you wish to be heard, please come before us, state your name, your address, and try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Billy.
Good evening. My name is Bill Byrne, and I live at 100 Franklin Street. And I'd like to congratulate the newly elect, and I also like to graduate all the council people that got elected. And I can't wait to, work with every one of them and try to make this community a good and safe, vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. If there are no other members of the public wish, up, the gentleman on my right to the back.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is John Williams, and I'm at 1 Washington Avenue in Morristown. And I'm not going to talk long. I just want to follow up some comments I made last week about the rent control ordinance, and I just provided some more detail, and so for you all to consider. And so let me just hand these out to you guys.
Yeah, we'll pass it down. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. So I represent the Morris Tenants Association. So I'm speaking on behalf of tenants, in particular, tenants regulated by Chapter 14 of the ordinance. And so last week, for those who weren't here, I spoke about that there was town was operating a shadow ordinance that differed from the actual ordinance. And so kind of said everything then. Don't need to belabor the point. Just want to provide additional information for you all to consider. And then we'll probably take the matter up in the new year. So I want to wish everybody happy holidays. And thanks for all you do for Morristown. I really appreciate it, and particularly you, Mr. Mayor. You're great.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a Happy New Year.
Yes.
I'm short, sorry.
You can just pull it down.
Hold on, all right.
Yeah.
My name's Natalie. I live at
What is your name?
Natalie Lopez. I live on 21 Pine Street. And I just have a quick question based on the parking authority project that they have for the Lot 10 parking deck. Has anything been approved yet, or who is going to be making the approval of this project? Do you guys have any idea, or
Yeah, we'll respond to you
you'll
after we
respond to it
close the
during?
public
Okay,
hearing.
I
Yep.
just, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Helterman. I live at 28 Franklin Street, right across the street from Town Hall. And I was wondering, because of the snow and everything that we had over the last couple of days, we were, I know we were forced to cancel Santa and the whole parade and the whole shindig. That usually has the Morris Choral Society there performing, and on the green, and all the festivities that go along with it. And I was wondering, any idea as to when that is going to be rescheduled, since Christmas is like only a couple of weeks away now, and we're into December, and second day, but still, or third day into December. And I was just wondering when.
Tomorrow night, 6:15.
Oh, it's tomorrow night? Okay, thank you, because I didn't hear about that. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'm going to announce it tonight.
Okay.
Thank you. If there are no other members of the public wishing to be heard, at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. Any comments, responses to public hearing?
Natalie, we have the MPA here tonight doing the presentation, so they're going to be here tonight, and then the decision actually isn't the council, I believe, but we'll get clarification on that, too.
Council President, I believe it's on the website, Facebook website, partnership website, right, Mike?
Yep.
That Santa Claus, we had to cancel because it would have been too dangerous for people to ride in those icy conditions with kids. It was the right thing to do. Santa Claus is coming tomorrow night, 6:15. So he said he called up and said he's going to come. He didn't want to diss us. So, but it was too dangerous. There was too much ice on the sleigh. So they had to divert, and they're coming tomorrow night. So he'll be arriving tomorrow night at 6:15.
Seven.
Huh?
Okay, at this time, since there are no more comments from council members, I'll move on to mayor's proclamations and presentations. Turn it over to you, Mayor Doherty.
I'll do one first. Is Todd here? Come on, Todd.
I thought I saw that purple shirt.
Yeah. Difficult.
29th, pancreatic cancer. So, very important thing to read into the record. We're going to do a proclamation on World Pancreatic Cancer Day. And then we'll let you say a few words.
Appreciate it.
Afterwards? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. In 2019, an estimated 55,400 people in the United States will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest cancers, and 44,330 will die from this disease. I'm going to now interrupt this and let you know that a good friend of mine passed away November 29th of pancreatic cancer I worked with the last 12 years. Great guy, heck of a fighter, but this is a very tough disease.
It is.
So this is extra special tonight. Whereas pancreatic cancer surpassed breast cancer this year to become the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and it is projected to become the second leading cause by the year 2020. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits in just 9%, and when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is generally late stages, and only 10% of pancreatic cancer patients are diagnosed with the disease and is confined to their pancreas. 91% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. And whereas approximately 1,300 deaths will occur in New Jersey in 2019. Pancreatic cancer is the 7th most common cause of cancer-related death in men and women across the world. And there is an estimated 480,000 new pancreatic cancer cases diagnosed globally in 2020. And whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Morristown are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into its early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Now, therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim November 21st, 2019 as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in the town of Morristown.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. You guys get it? Jim, did you get it? You got competing pictures here.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I want to thank the mayor and the council for sponsoring this proclamation. This is probably the 4th or 5th year I've been here. My father passed away of pancreatic cancer back in 2002. And the mayor, you mentioned you had a close friend who passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. If you don't know somebody who has been affected by this disease, odds are you will, and it's unfortunate. We have Alex Trebek, who recently came out with his diagnosis, who's really the first major celebrity to kind of get the ball rolling regarding pancreatic cancer. I'm a volunteer for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. We have our meetings in the Morris County Library. Start in January. It's usually the 3rd Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock, 7:30 is the actual meeting, and then we have a meet and greet at 7. If you want more information, go to pancan.org. If you know someone who's diagnosed, there are clinical trials available and a lot of resources that are available that could potentially save your life. Clinical trials are really the best avenue to go to at this point, with the survival rate being at only 9%. It's unacceptable, and we're doing everything we can to help raise awareness through things like this proclamation. We just had a walk in Parsippany, which had about 3,000 people. Our goal was $440,000. We raised $540,000,
Wow.
which was mind-blowing. Thank you. But it's still not enough. Us as a group, we've raised over $3 million, but we need to do more. And, things like this are very, very helpful. Before I go, I just want to thank the council and the mayor once again. I also want to thank Kristen Wedderburn for helping to arrange this by declaring November 21st as Pancreatic Cancer Day, World Pancreatic Cancer Day. You're helping raise awareness for this terrible disease. Once again, the website is pancan.org if you know someone who's been affected. There's a toll-free number. The resources are free, and this is a big step in helping raise awareness and end this disease. Thank you.
Thank you.
This one's a little bittersweet. You want to come up and join me at the mic? Yeah, you got to come up. You really don't have a choice. You have to. Come on. Don't start crying either. Come on. It's all right. Allison's going to have to get this at the next meeting. So we're going to do a proclamation. Come over here so everybody can see you. This is our councilwoman's last meeting. She'll be on her honeymoon the 14th of December, so she won't be here for the 17th meeting. So this is officially going to be her last meeting as a councilwoman here in Morristown. And we have a little proclamation. We've become very good friends over the last 4 years, and you can tell, and we talk about it often, how fast 4 years go. It really went fast. And you've accomplished a lot. We're very proud of you, and all of us, council members and the public and the administration, for your dedication and hard work. So I'd like to read this into the record, and I just want to make sure I get your husband's last name. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe then there was a little twist to it or something. It's hair, so it's not fancy. Okay. You ready? All right. Whereas Councilwoman and Vice President Hillary Brooke Davis Hare began her first term on the Town Council on January 1st, 2016. And whereas currently Morristown's council is the most diverse in history of this town. And whereas Councilwoman Davis Hare term marks the first time ever that 2 black women have served as council president and council vice president within the town of Morristown. And whereas Councilwoman Davis Hare is a 5th-generation Morristown resident and graduated from Morristown High School in 1994. Seems like yesterday, right? No. And whereas during her term, Councilwoman Davis, she has remained heavily involved with the town council, mayor, administration to create more affordable housing, to improve the quality of life for housing residents. She has worked on various projects, including the Caldwell Playground beautification and renovation project, improvements to Martin Luther King Avenue streetscape, and has been a key supporter of the town granting $250,000 to the Morristown Housing Authority for much-needed renovations at the Marion Sally Recreation Center, which is now open. She continues to be a strong proponent for the beautification and quality of life for the Second Ward residents, including assisting residents obtaining employment and creating job opportunities for the town youth. Whereas Councilwoman Davis Hare is a devoted mother to her 12-year-old daughter, Mackenzie Davis. Where's Mackenzie? There she is. And loving husband to Marshall Hare Jr. Now, therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim December 3rd, 2019, as Hillary Brooke Davis Hare Day in the town of Morristown. Council Vice President Hillary Davis Hare has devoted countless hours of service to the residents of our great community, and her presence on the town council will be greatly missed. Thank you for your service. I will. can do it.
I'm sorry. This has been a really cool experience for me. You know, when I decided to run, I was going through a terrible divorce. And I clown with my mother and I say, I must have had a foggy brain to have decided to just do this so easily. It's very difficult and these people work very hard. It's no money, we just love this town. I did not expect to feel this way. I have a little list, but it's over there of people that I wanted to thank. Thank you. First, I want to thank God because all of this is divine.
Amen.
And my mom, Kim Holt, and my dad, Larry Davis, and my run cake, Mackenzie Davis. You guys put up with so much, just during this time, always having to, be on, which I did not expect. And you guys all handled it really well. I have to also include my husband, Marshall, who's not even from Morristown, so being here is kind of crazy for him because everyone knows who he is because they know who I am. And my brother, Star. They all handled it very well, and I'm grateful for all of their support. Our mayor, Tim Dougherty, who, to be very honest, I was not sure about our relationship and what it would be. And he surprised me more than anyone. He's been my friend, and he has supported literally everything that I came to him with, no matter how ridiculous it was. He'd be like, get Reach on the phone. See if it's legal. Can we get the money? Can we do it? And that happened even before I was elected. And I'm going to say it. I know you don't like when I talk about it, but before I even got elected, the one thing he asked me was, what would you do right now if you could for the town? And I said, our kids don't have jobs. And 2 days later, between him and Veej, they called me back and they had money to employ 10 kids. And I'm like, wow, is this really how this works? Like, can you just say something and magically these things get done for? I was so impressed with how he made it his mission to help me accomplish everything that I wanted to. I mean, all of them, the whole administration. My council colleagues, we don't always agree, but I think this was the most cohesive group. Because, we don't always agree, but we always consider what's important for the town and for the people. And we get past our differences to make what I believe are the right decisions. I grew up with Tashiba, and I never imagined in a million years that she and I would be allowed in here and not be in front of Judge Noonan, first of all. I'm going to put my head down on that. She and I have talked before, and I'm like, I feel really grateful that we've experienced this together, and your mother got to see you, in that way, and to make her proud, and I could do the same for my own mother, because I know I've embarrassed her enough times. You know what I mean? This makes her proud, and I'm proud to see Darnell Richardson, who I grew up right in his neighborhood, our first black chief. A few days after I got here, this beautiful sister came through the door in charge of everything. To me, it's just super impressive, and this is such a diverse community and a fair community. And I'm just so grateful to have had this experience. That's it. Thank you. Kisses for everybody.
finish?
Oh, please, because I'm a little taken back. And just before you finish, Councilwoman, thank you for the kind words. And I don't have enough words to say, but I just appreciate your acknowledgement and your service and all your hard work to the community. The mention of my mom kind of brings tears to my eyes, and so I don't want to get emotional, but, thank you for your support during that time, because I know you had to step in and fill in for me a lot, as I was caring for my mother in New York and running back and forth. And so I appreciate, your efforts and your dedication and holding down the meetings in my absence. And I just appreciate everything that you've done over your tenure as councilwoman. So I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And good luck and have fun on your honeymoon.
I will, I assure you.
All right, Mayor, you can take it over.
Yeah, right. Well, she is something else. I can tell you. You may not see it on the street every day, but this councilwoman was engaged and focused on her ward and got a lot of things accomplished. Yes, she's right. There is a process with the administration and the council, but it's the initiative and how much you care about people and what you care about your ward. And it showed it's clearly in a better place than when you found it. And nobody could take that away from you. Nobody. And I will miss you dearly. And you never know what's going to happen in life, You just don't know. Life's a funny thing, You talked a little bit about this. The pancreatic cancer gets a proclamation, but those things are real. And on top of that, I was driving home Sunday, and there were a lot of police cars in front of my house, and I said, "Oh boy, something must have happened," And my neighbor passed away. He's 51, and I'm not going to say what he passed away from, but we don't have full understanding yet. So you don't know how long you're going to be here, and it is a precious life we live, and we should take note of it each day that we get to walk on this earth, and don't take it for granted. I also want to recognize School Board President Leonard Posey, who's here to support Hillary. Thank you so much, and it means a lot. So, I'm going to miss you. But I'm going to keep calling you, so I'm not going away. You're my friend, You're my friend. You're not my councilwoman friend. You're my friend. Okay, Wednesday, November 13th, Census 2020 Stakeholders Meeting in the Senior Center. I can't emphasize how important 2020 census is. Everybody's got to get counted. Everybody. It's important for federal funding. It really is. It really goes to where the money, you have to really count everybody. So please, they're looking for volunteers. They're looking for people to get, and they pay. It's a pretty good paying job, too, for a census taker. I don't know if I'd do it, but, it's a good way. If you're in between, you need a job, it's a good thing. I should have bought tissues. Can I have some tissues? You made me cry. Jesus, man. I'll be known as the emotional man. On top of everything else they call me. All right. Tuesday, November 26th, I believe our business administrator, Jillian Barrett, held budget hearings. So we're in that cycle, too, now, to the budget. On Tuesday, December 3rd, which is today, for those who don't know, it's the 3rd, the Hyatt had their tree lighting. The Hyatt Regency hosts a beautiful event for their employees, and they have a tree lighting. They bring Santa in to celebrate with their employees. It's a very nice event. Pastor Silva came with his family. Very nice, and want to wish the Hyatt Regency continued success. Tomorrow, 6:15, very important. I think it's out there already, but I want everybody to know. 6:15, Santa's arrival and lighting of the green. It's rescheduled from the inclement weather we had Sunday. Yes?
Can you just elaborate on what since it is a weekday, what the traffic closures may be?
Okay.
So we expect Santa to arrive at Morristown Airport and to be escorted by our Morristown Fire Department to the green. So there won't be a full closure on North Park Place. There'll be a modified closure, but there will still be full traffic movement around the green. So there may be some modest impacts on traffic, but we're trying to reduce that as much as possible.
Good to hear.
But he's coming.
So the event will be in the green, not on the side?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, December 6th, Friday. I think it's another important event for anybody who wants to take the day off or is off. Climate Strike and Rally as part of the Global Climate Strike hosted by New Jersey Climate Coalition. It's going to be on the Town Hall front steps, and you all know, you hear it from me all the time. I'm a big believer in the climate change, and I see it every day. Since I've been mayor, I've seen the changes. And those who don't want to think that there's changes going on, well, there is. And it's serious. So pay attention to the science, and if you can, come out and support. They're just trying to, my thing is people need to be aware and just be educated and have information. And I think that's the best we can do right now for people, is to give them accurate information. On December 11th, the annual senior holiday party in the senior center. You're all welcome to come and see the seniors. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. A lot of seniors come out. It's a blast for our holiday party. It's from noon to 2. It's noon to 2. It's December 11th. That's also a Wednesday. December 13th, we have our town employee holiday party at the senior center. I know they all like that because they get to go home early after the party. So that's Friday the 13th. You're also all welcome to join that. Come and say hello to the employees. They'd love to see you.
What time is that, Tim?
That is noon to 2 on the 13th. It's a Friday. December 15th, which is a Sunday, Our Youth, Their Future Holiday Spectacular in the senior center. That's Our Youth, Their Future. That's Toshiba's event, if you want to touch on it later. And the last thing I want to do, I have a special note, was a couple of things, but one of the special notes is I want to remind everybody on the council and people who know Matt O'Donnell, his brother Jack passed. And if they knew who Jack was a great guy and well-loved, and he was Mr. Madison. He was like the mayor of Madison. And his brother passed away. So reach out, give him a call and see how he's doing. So I just wanted to recognize that because, Matt does work for the town, and his brother's been around a long time. And so, he's going through a tough time. Anything else? Anything else? Remember, okay, everybody have a wonderful holiday. No, we're going to have another meeting the 17th, right? Okay, so we're going to meet back here. Usually we had one meeting a lot of times in December, but we're having 2 this year. So we're having another meeting is the 17th, correct? All right, so we'll hold the Merry Christmas stuff till the 17th. I think that's it unless something else comes up. Oh, I do, yes. Phil Aberson and myself were at a meeting in the 4th Ward, 4-2, and dealing with the issue of some of my neighbors put together some people at the Kellogg Club on the Airbnb. I mentioned to Mr. Iannacone, Mr. Armington. We'll talk about it at the planning board. But they wanted to let the council know that the part of the ordinance, which I was surprised, they were okay with single-family use as long as the people who live there were home. So I think I lost my mic. Did I lose my mic? There you go. So there's probably some question to that, if that's going to work. So you guys are going to have to...
Or come on out on the 17th.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing you can do. So I'll pass that message along. I'll actually have our councilwoman's on the phone, Councilwoman Deeb, to get that out, to attend the meeting on the 17th, and we'll talk about it at the planning board. So that's it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we are going to move on to other presentations. We're going to have a presentation on Lot 10 parking deck from the Morristown Parking Authority. Oh, did you want to add something before?
Al Chifo. Yes.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
No, you can come up.
You can go ahead.
You can come up. I just wanted to also recognize Al Chifo. I just looked at him. Al was my boss from a previous life, and his previous life. His mother, was it father-in-law? his wife's father-in-law passed away. So we also keep our director, Al, in our thoughts and prayers, his family. Thanks, Al. One other thing. Yeah, I knew there was a couple things. I also want to thank all our town workers, police, fire, and especially DPW for all the work they did to keep our streets clean, salted. Morristown, as always, I think does a top job. It's amazing how great the DPW has it down. So I wanted to give all the agencies a shout out, but DPW, you guys did a great job. Keep up the good work.
See if it works.
I have a couple quick questions. Can I just ask them? Hello?
Questions about what?
Is there a redevelop? It's hard to hear.
Allison, so the parking authority is just setting up to give their presentation on lot 10, and then after that will be the council liaison reports, and I think that would probably be the appropriate time for you to ask your questions, if that's okay with you.
I just have a question that was just on a couple of things that were just said. One is there a redevelopment meeting on December 17th at 7:30, 7 o'clock? I mean, December 12th at 7 o'clock?
I don't think so. I don't believe so.
Councilwoman, this is Jillian. At this point, we don't have any agenda items, although the agenda will be finalized by the end of the week. If there isn't a meeting, we'll definitely let you know.
Thank you. And the Airbnb meeting that I was asked to notify my constituents, is that meeting taking place in the future? And can you send me a notice forward?
I'll shoot you an email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, what we can't say, it's Planning Board has the consistency review this Thursday night at 7 o'clock here in council chambers, and that's merely a consistency review with the master plan, and then it's back here before council on the 17th at 7:30.
Oh, sure, I'm ready.
Thank you.
You're ready.
Council President, council members. Bob Goldsmith, I'm proud to have been associated with the Parking Authority for 36 years last month. We're making this presentation at the suggestion of our council liaison, your council member, Robert Iannacone, for a proposed parking garage on Lot 10, which is the parking lot behind the post office building on the block bounded by Morris Street, Pine Street, and Dumont Place. We intend to be brief. You have a busy agenda. We want to explain the why and what is being contemplated. Our long-term parking consultant, Jerry Giosa, will address the why, and our architect, Dean Marchetto, will address what? Because of the importance of the location of this facility, the Parking Authority retained the services of Di Marchetto to address the aesthetics of the facility, because it kind of serves as a connector between the train station and the green, and ties the train station into the heart of the town of Morristown. And that's something we haven't done before, and we've had the input of Phil Abramson, your planner, Jillian Barrick, your business administrator, Jennifer Waring from the Morristown Partnership, and it's been a cooperative effort. To come to a vision that we think is not only good but desirable, and will address long-term needs of parking for the town of Morristown. I note that the Parking Authority was established in 1956, and in those years, the Parking Authority has been dedicated to bettering the town of Morristown, and notably, we're all very proud of the fact that in that time period, we've never taken a penny or asked for a penny from the town of Morristown. I'll note also that Mr. Fabrizio, Michael Fabrizio, the Executive Director of the Parking Authority, is here, and I noticed Commissioner Smato and Commissioner Brady are also present, and the team is set forth there, and we appreciate their efforts, and we again thank you for the opportunity to present. Jerry Giosa is our parking consultant, and he'll address why the parking garage.
Thanks, Bob. My name is Gerard Giosa. I'm president of Level G Associates. I've been parking consultant to the Morristown Parking Authority for over 20 years. Been involved in doing parking studies throughout your town, and I know it very well. I've had the pleasure of working with a great design team, and we're here to just quickly go through why we are building this parking garage, some of the site characteristics, and then Dean is going to show you, what the garage looks like. I'm going to be brief because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and the pictures that Dean has are going to really tell the story of what we envision for this site. So, So just to get you situated, the town green is up on the left there, diagonally across from the post office. Our site is right behind that, and it's flanked by Morris Street up top and Dumont along the left side there where the Weichert office building is. So the working name is the Morris Dumont Parking Garage, or the Lot 10 Parking Garage. We have lots of other features around there. Fidelity, the new Bacad residential project is just behind. So it's strategically located site. If you look at the inset diagram, you can see the town green. And in light and in blue, you could see the locations of 3 parking authority garages, the Dalton Garage, Ann Bank, and the DeHart Garage. And you could see that our parking garage, the Lot 10 garage, is going to kind of complete the quadrant of parking garages around the town green. And it's also, the site is strategically located, as Bob said, between the green and the train station, but also it's triangulated with the Mayo Performing Arts Center as well. It's within very reasonable walking distance to that facility. The site has multiple access points, which is going to be great for getting traffic off the streets, getting cars off the streets, getting pedestrians in and out of the site as well. The site is strategically located to intercept traffic before it reaches the downtown area, which you see on the left, and you see 287 on the right. So a lot of traffic will be intercepted before it starts to get onto the streets and clutter things up. So the garage features 570 spaces after the gate. So after you pull a ticket and you start to head up the ramps, there'll be 570 spots in the garage, and 90 metered spaces are going to remain at grade on the site. And I have a diagram that shows those spaces. It's going to have modern features, high-efficiency LED lighting, rooftop solar panels, electric vehicle charging stations, and it'll have a high-tech integration system. We may even have a vehicle counting system that's going to show the number of available spaces remaining in the garage. So this is the diagram that shows in green, this is the site plan, and in green are the areas and parking spaces that are going to remain short-term for the local businesses. These are spots that you're going to be able to quickly pull in and out of and go to the local businesses. You're not going to have to go through the gates and pull a ticket and park in the garage. These are going to remain metered spaces, and the total is about 90. So we're looking at a 2020 groundbreaking and completion in 2021. During construction, we're looking to preserve about 50 to 60 on-site spaces for the local businesses. We do have the ability to work around the site and keep that number of spaces available and open at all times during construction. Also, we could relocate some of our permit parkers to the DeHart Street garage and the Dalton garage, and there may be some available in the Highlands garage as well. So just quickly on the project design, you could see the garage located in the center of the site. It has a ring of buildings around it, starting with the post office in the top left, and then moving clockwise around. We have Fidelity, we have the Dunkin' Donuts and George and Martha's, Morristown Diner. We have Wilmot Walk on the right side, 10 Wilmot and the roller rink, and the Weichert Building, all surrounding the garage. So you can see the garage is very well screened, sits interior of the site. The site is also down low at that point. It's quite a few feet below the Morris Street elevation, so that helps to keep it screened and in a central location. Also, we have opportunities on the site for these exciting kind of public spaces. Number one is we envision a plaza that is going to connect the garage to Morris Street and bring you to Morris Street very close to the town green. This would be at the same elevation, this plaza, as Morris Street, and we're envisioning that to be a beautiful space. The number two is what we're calling the Spring Street extension. That we're showing on the left side of that is going to be a 10-foot wide sidewalk that's going to go along the proposed residential development right there. And we're also looking with the traffic engineers at possibly flipping the angle parking to the right side and parallel parking on the left side. We think just functionally it will work better. And number three is going to be is proposed to be a transitional space where the farmers market can be held. And you can see that the grade level of the garage is part of that space. So it's actually high headroom. You could actually have an indoor-outdoor farmers market experience there, but it just doesn't have to be just for the farmers market. It's a transitional space that could be used for other things as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dean, and he's going to show you what this project could look like.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hello? Can you hear me? Is it working? Okay. My name is Dean Marchetto. I'm a fellow in the American Institute of Architects. I am founding principal of my firm, Marchetto Higgins Stevie Architects, and we're located in Hoboken and Jersey City. My firm is 40 years old. We have about 40 professionals, and I've appeared in front of the town council before on other projects. I'm pleased to be asked to participate in the design of the Lot 10 garage. I recognize it's an important project for the town, and I'd like to take you on a little vision trip of what the garage will look like. When we first started the project, working with the Parking Authority, we wanted to, it was
our mission to trying to create a great project here, not just an ordinary parking garages. You know, parking garages by themselves tend to be unattractive structures generally. They're basically slabs with columns. They're all open. You could see in, you could see the cars. But recent trends over the past decade has been to make these garages much more attractive structures, especially when they're in downtown. This particular site is very well suited for your garage because it's not on a street frontage. It's in the back of the buildings, so it's kind of not occupying your street frontage. And as Jerry and Bob said, it has incredible access to your town. So getting in and out, both as vehicles and pedestrians, is very convenient from this location. And because it's down in the hollow behind South Street, and I guess you call it the park, South Park Place, the extension of Morris Avenue, South Park Place, it's down in a hollow, and as a result, the height of the building is mitigated from different views, and I'll show you that on the screen. When we looked at the garage, what makes a nice-looking garage? Well, one thing we like to do is take a look at what's around it and try to respond to the architecture of your town. And so we noticed that there are two different and distinct sides to the building. The one side that faces towards the green has more traditional buildings associated with that location. You have the post office, you have the Presbyterian Church, you have a couple of brick buildings on Morris, and of course you got all those classic buildings around the green. On the other side that faces on Dumont and then eventually to Pine, you're closer to the Arts District, and you have the Performing Arts Center there, and so maybe the garage should have two different responses, one towards the traditional side and one towards a more artful side. And so we've taken that approach when we designed the garage. What I'd like to do is close this program and open up a 3D model. I'd like to show you the garage in context, make it a 3D presentation, and then build the components of the garage on the screen in front of you so you can see all these components that we've added to the building to try to make it a more interesting architecture. Okay, so this here is a 3D model flattened out from the upper view, like a top down. You can see on the top left there is the green, and then to the top of the garage site being right here in the center. This is South Park Place, Morris, and then Pine Street, Dumont Street. And this is the parking area currently located behind the buildings on those streets. So now I'm going to tilt this up into 3D so you can start to see the shapes of the buildings. You see the roller rink in front here, the Weichert Building, the Presbyterian Church, and this is the site for the garage. So just tilting it up a little bit, and then basically wanted to show you that there's a proposed residential building here that's been approved, and it's waiting for construction. And that's a new building that you haven't seen yet, so we take that into account. That's a brick building. That's the Baycard residential building. And then this is the garage. And I'm going to try to zoom in here. And as I mentioned to you, garages tend to be generally a little bit unattractive. They're built with slabs and columns, and they're generally open, and you can usually see in to see the cars. But there are several components that we added to this building in order to create an interesting view. So if we turn around the other side, you can see that these are vertical stair towers. There's one here and there's one here, and this is the basic garage. And since this side of the garage faces more towards the green and the traditional buildings, the post office is here, a new proposed brick building here, brick buildings on Morris, we wanted to create a brick facade that faced in this direction. Unfortunately, with this projector, it's not as clear as I'd like it to be, so maybe I'll just zoom in here. But you can see that the garage has been clad with a brick structure on this side that has window openings that are more typical of a building than a parking garage. They're kind of vertical instead of horizontal. There's a beautiful detailing here with brick arches. This is real brick, and if I zoomed in really close, you could probably see the brick joints here. Light fixtures, panels, metal panels, and then a screening to kind of obscure the cars from this view. There's lighting and a big canopy over the entrance on this side, and I will show you all the entrances. If we were to turn around to the other side that faces more towards the arts, what we've done is we've carried the brick base with the arches around the side of the building so it holds together. And then on the upper level, we added a series of louvers, which in this screen is hard to see, but there's a series of louvers, maybe I could zoom in here, that obscure the garage from the inside but allows it to breathe. Basically, garages are not heated, and in order to keep them safe, they have to be ventilated. So there's a code requirement that garages have to be open at least 50% on two sides. That's why a lot of these garages that you see are open horizontal slots, just wide open. So we have to clad the building in materials that are breathable, but still provide an architectural exterior. So the louvers is one way to do that. I would also mention that this garage has a solar panel array up on this half of the roof. That solar panel array will provide power for the garage, but it also provides shade and protects some of the upper level cars from snowfall. But we've used it in a clever way to create a cornice. If you look here, the solar panels extend over the building and create an upper level cornice at the top of the building, which I don't know of many garages that actually have a cornice. It's a formal architectural feature that is found on more historical buildings, but here we used it in a contemporary way so that it doesn't read as a parking garage, but rather reads as an architectural feature. Now, if we go more or less towards the Dumont side, the roller rink is here on my right. This is Dumont. This is the Weichert building. This is the direction which people will be walking to from the Mayo Performing Arts Center. So this section of the building is pretty apparent. You see the staircase here. And what we've done is we've researched the material. We call it a scrim. A scrim is a material that's breathable. I have a sample here. It's a breathable material. It's a vinyl material. It has a 5-year life, and it can be printed with different images. So the parking authority can choose to change it up with seasons, with different years, and create an artful experience on the exterior of the garage towards the arts. So if we look at this one here, here's an example of what it could look like with fireworks, and this could be completely up to the town or the parking authority to choose. We just showed some examples of what this material can do. It's breathable, and it creates an exterior, and it hides the cars. And here's another example if you wanted to use more of a historic option. This is George Washington and the Revolutionary War. It's a famous photograph that Morristown is very familiar with. Now, the next thing we did is we came into the stair towers. In order to make the stair towers safe, they're all glass enclosed. You can't see the glass, but this is a glass enclosed stair tower. And what we've done is behind the wall, we've created art on the walls. This could be painted on. In this case, we chose a landscape element of a tree, but this could all be designed with an artist, and it creates a nice decorative feature, and it basically makes the stair tower safe and artful in its expression. So, if we turn around again, you could see the stair tower here. You can see this is the ground floor, and as Jerry Gerosa had mentioned, there's an entrance on this side and an entrance on the other side on the ground that go right into the ground floor metered spaces. The third entrance under the fireworks scrim is where you go in and go up a ramp. So there's 3 entrances into the garage, 2 of which you can actually just pull in and pull out metered parking, no gate, and it makes it very convenient for the farmer's market. We also made the ceiling height high enough, and you could see in this image here, I have a food truck in there just as a placeholder. But during events like a farmer's market, you could have, on a rainy day, you could have covered areas, you could have a truck that's inside that flexible parking area, and it could be used as a multi-purpose space for exterior events. So if we fly up here, I'm over Morris. This is the Dunkin' Donuts here. This is the post office. And if I come in this way, this is the entrance to the garage right in here. It comes off of South Park Place. This view is over the green, looking down at the garage entrance. You can see the post office here. And if I go down to ground level, and I come in here at ground level, you can see how the garage looks. I have a brick building here on the left, the brick post office building, and the brick garage. This does not look like a public parking garage. It's a much more handsome structure, and there's a stair tower here. And if you were going to walk to this garage to get your car, you would drive in here, and you'd walk on this little plaza that goes right out to the sidewalk towards the green. And if I can get in there just a little closer, you can get a sense of what it feels like as a pedestrian to get close up to this garage. And you'd enter right in here. This is one of those glass stair towers, has a beautiful entrance with a canopy, and you'd go in and you go up the stairs to the level that your car is on, or take the elevator. So now, the other entrance is down by Spring Street, and I'll show you what that feels like. So I slide over here. This is the Dunkin' Donuts on my left. This is the new proposed residential building on the right, and this is that extension of Spring Street. It has parking on it on both sides. And if I get you down to ground level, you get a sense of what the garage looks like. So you see that as you peek through these openings from the perimeter streets, you get to look into a garage that has a nice, handsome design with a brick facade, and it doesn't feel like a standard parking garage, but it's elevated in its design.
It's the circle.
If I zoomed in a little closer, this is how you would drive into the garage, into those metered spaces on the ground floor. And then, this is going to be from a distance, but you can see I'm over the train station here. And if you were down at the train station on the platform level, you'd be able to see that the garage is visible, and you would have a destination. Here's the garage. Here's a steeple from one of the churches, and you can get a sense that this is the direction you would go in to get towards the garage. It fits into the height context of the town, and it's a landmark that's visible from the train station. And then as I fly around again, you can see the American Headquarters Plaza right here, just to give you a reference. The Performing Arts Center is here, the green, and then I can just take the last view getting back towards the main entrance on Dumont. And the last image I have is a 3D rendering here. And so this is more of a finished rendering. That's not a model. It's a little hard to manipulate on this. Here you go. So here's a view, a final view. You can see that on a day that might have a farmer's market open, there's pedestrians. And this whole public space in here between where the farmer's market could be and the walkways go in and out will be designed in conjunction with the landscape architect to create plazas and pedestrian space that are fun and walkable and have opportunities to create other activities. with that, I'd like to just say this is a general overview of what the garage will look like, and I can answer any questions if there are any, but this is the presentation on the garage. Thank you.
That's it for the presentation?
Yes,
for
it
Lot
is.
10? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Procedurally, would you guys be coming to the planning board for a courtesy review, or what do you anticipate?
We anticipate a capital review.
Okay. What's a capital review?
It's the
Okay, okay,
statutory
okay.
courtesy review.
So a couple things I'd like to see at that. I know that when with the M Station project incorporated the traffic from this development into their projects, and so I think as long as that project happens, I think this one will be well incorporated. It would be nice to see if if the M Station doesn't happen and the traffic circle is not done, how will this project affect traffic at that intersection of Spring and Morris?
Let me say that, Phil Abramson has worked closely with us. He's really worked with integrating our traffic engineers, the traffic engineers for the town, as well as the traffic engineers for the M project.
Right.
He's probably if he wouldn't mind, he's probably the best person to address that question, but I think he's taken into account the various options that may or may not happen with M Station.
Well, it's really the question of the traffic study for the whole region. One of the things that was raised with the M Station review was that we would like to see the full traffic study for all the impact. And not just this project, but the other projects along the Morris and Spring Street corridor. So I think I don't know if, will the planning board then see that traffic analysis?
That's separate. I mean, I think that is anticipated prior to the redevelopment agreement for the M Station, if and when that happens. I think this is just from a procedural perspective. If M Station doesn't happen, we know that the intersection of Spring and Morris is essentially at an F now.
I think probably the most important thing is first, parking garages don't generate traffic. They don't create traffic. In fact, from 1948, when the Parking Authority law was passed after the Second World War, there was a recognition that parking authorities, parking facilities tend to reduce traffic because it gives people a destination to get to as a final point to park their cars.
I'm not asking for the testimony now. If you anticipate having a traffic professional at your planning board meeting, if you could just address it, if it doesn't happen.
The traffic.
Yes.
Just to mention, there was an earlier slide that we just moved quickly through, but traffic, public space design, circulation, and civil engineering will certainly be addressed at the planning board.
Okay, great.
But just, again, to clarify, one of the criticisms about traffic is the fact that every developer, and i.e. in this case, the MPA is a developer, and every developer comes with their own traffic expert. So what I would emphasize to you is to work with Phil, work with our traffic expert.
We have, and we will
so
continue
that
to
there's
do
one coordinated study for that corridor. Because it's not just this intersection that's rated an F, but the Elm and Morris and Ridgedale are also rated F intersections. And so we have to see what the impact is going to be. And your comment that garages don't generate traffic actually raises another consideration that I hope you will consider. To what degree are the spaces in this garage allocated? Because as we know, the allocation of space is what facilitates development in town. To the degree that a developer, which adds density, adds traffic to the community, to the degree that that developer is using an off-site parking agreement with the parking authority, as we have with Banks, as we have with DeHart, that is going to increase density in town. And so one of the other concerns is the allocation of spaces. How are spaces going to be allocated? To what degree are those spaces going to facilitate development? Because it will be. So that does generate traffic.
That's a fair question. As of now, there are no agreements with respect to long-term parking for this facility. And in fact, in discussions with the administration and with planning, the concept is that any preference would be given to as-of-right projects consistent with the town's vision for development.
Okay. But again, along those lines, it's, and I'd like to see more information on the impact it's going to have on King and Pine Street. Those neighborhoods right now, that neighborhood right now is extremely compromised, and it's going to be compromised even further with the M Street development and other development along Morris Avenue. And so to what degree is the Pine Street over to Dumont going to be the primary access to the garage? Because it's probably going to be the least point of traffic, maybe, and I'll leave that to you guys to discern. But don't underestimate the concern that the folks on Pine and King have because of the impact this may have on their neighborhood.
Sure.
Okay? Just a couple more questions, if I might. Also, going back to the allocation, one of the primary motivations for the town, I think, is to make parking for Mayo and for other entertainment uses at night easier. Is that going to be facilitated, i.e., again, when you look at allocation, if you overly allocate spaces and those spaces rely on nighttime parking, it's going to compromise the availability of those spaces for restaurants, other entertainment establishments, and Mayo. So what I would suggest, and you know I've been a critic of this, is the accuracy and or the completeness of the information presented to planning boards and Board of Adjustments on the availability of spaces, on the count, on the number of spaces that are available for development. I'd like to see, as part of this application, more clarity on how spaces are going to be allocated and to what degree the spaces may be available for off-site parking for future development.
We've had multiple meetings with MPAC over the last few years, and we have an expectation that this will, to a large degree, address many of MPAC's parking issues.
Okay. But it's also to the degree that the spaces are reserved and available.
Yes, but I mean, we've been dealing with shared parking issues for more than 20 years now. And I think we can say quite effectively, but you're right, there are issues that will be addressed and need to be addressed.
And I think the clarity of how spaces are allocated is overdue to both the Planning Board and our Board of Adjustments. I've sat through numerous meetings and the clarity of that, and I hear the frustration from the Planning Board and from the Board of Adjustment members also. So I think as part of your process, if you could clarify that in terms of the allocation, I think that would be a great help, even further than it has been.
Thank you, Bob.
Just a couple more questions. 6 stories parking garage?
Grade plus 5 supported levels.
Okay.
Because you don't have a roof.
And the representation on the height, that it appears that the height is no higher than the monumental Weichert building next door?
Yes, it is no higher than the monumental Weichert building next door.
The what building?
We all love that building. Okay.
That's an interesting word for it.
That's it.
Any other comments from council members? And this is gonna, how many lot attendants will be on the premises, or will there be any?
I think we haven't made a judgment on that, but probably comparable to the DeHart Street garage, where it'll be fully automated, but there'll be someone available to address concerns or issues for people, for patrons.
Any areas where trees are going to be planted around?
I would expect there will be both hardscaping and landscaping. We've not made those judgments yet.
I have a question for Mr. Marchetto.
Yes.
Dean, you were the architect for Fox Rothschild, correct?
Yes.
When that building was being designed, I had seen a rendering of it with like a black brick. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Instead of a red brick, it was like a black brick. It was very, very cool. Very cool. I loved it. Have you put any different renderings for this building together other than just the standard red brick that we tend to see all the time?
Well, we haven't. We can. It's easy to change the color of the brick. The building that's going up now, next to Fox Rothschild, will have that black brick on the, is it, Bank Street side, the lower side. You'll see panels of that black brick. It's a manganese iron spot brick. It's very handsome, and we use it
I
when
think
we
it's
can.
great. Yeah, it's beautiful.
In this case, we have a blue-gray metal work going around, and we thought that the contrast with the red brick, which is a little bit more historic, in light of the post office, the Presbyterian Church, and other brick buildings on Morris, we thought that was a better selection, but we'll certainly take into consideration other alternatives.
Cool.
And take
Yeah,
a
I
look.
mean, it has a very forward-thinking, kind of modern look to it. So if you played around with some different brick, that might be interesting.
We'll take a look.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no more other comments or questions from council members, thank you for the presentation. I'm sure it's been long awaited, and I'm sure members of the public are, happy to finally see something that might be going there as a public parking lot. So appreciate your time and your efforts.
Thank you. And just to answer the question posed by the member of the public, the project hasn't been approved at this point. Obviously, we haven't been to the planning board yet. And so that will yet happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When are you anticipating coming in front of the planning board?
Probably within the next 2 to 4 months.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean.
Thank
Bob.
you.
Nice job. Nice job. Did a nice job. Dean, nice job, Dean. Thank you. Correct. He's very talented.
Oh, you didn't see this.
You can help Andrea.
Got it.
Notice.
Okay.
What's this?
What do we got? Next.
Oh, okay. Presentations and reports, okay.
We got next.
Oh. All right.
Let's go.
Moving on to council liaison reports. At this time, do we have any reports from council members?
Parking Authority met, you just heard the topic of the last meeting, and the Parking Authority meets again next Monday.
Thank you.
Planning Board met last month about the Morris Street development down at Ridgedale. They meet again on Thursday, also on the Morris Street redevelopment. Also, I was in attendance at the Housing Authority meeting last week. One of the more opportune items of note was they passed a resolution increasing the Section 8 housing voucher for 1 to 3 family units by 10%, so that should increase the amount of money that residents receive on a monthly basis to pay for their housing vouchers. So.
Great. Partnership.
Morristown Partnership met on Wednesday, November 13th. Had a meeting, discussed a number of topics. One was putting together a subcommittee and figuring out a way to recruit members of the public to present new ideas and kind of value-added ideas for the partnership from local residents and also business owners. Also, we talked about creating a process for streamlining pop-up shops to possibly come into Morristown. A good example of that is when you see a Halloween costume store go into an empty retail location. They just come in for, say, 60 days, for 2 months. So trying to come up with a way where retailers can streamline that process and possibly use some empty space in Morristown. And then also, as the mayor already mentioned, Santa's arrival, unfortunately with the bad weather on Sunday, was postponed, but I'll just read again tomorrow night at 6:15. Santa's arrival on the Green. I believe they'll be followed up by hot chocolate and cookies provided by the Hyatt at 7 p.m. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's right after Santa. At 7 p.m., the Morris Choral Society will have a performance, and then at 7:30, the MPAC Performing Arts Company performance. And then I believe photos with Santa in Santa's house after his arrival.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other calendar of events that council members would like to bring to attention to members of the public, I'd like to move on to regular business, please.
There are two ordinances for
Sorry, Councilwoman Deeb.
I just want to announce the December, Morristown Environmental Commission was changed. The meeting was changed to Thursday, December 12th at 7:30. And there's going to be a presentation by the single-use task force to the Morristown Environmental Commission. And this is going to address the plastic reduction initiative. And the task force is going to be sending out a questionnaire through the town email list, as well as social media. And the final tally for the metrics will be collected from the seniors at the mayor's holiday party on Wednesday, December 11th. So there will be that data gathering, and those analytics are being done. So let people know to participate in that if they're interested in that initiative.
Thank you. Ready? Moving on to regular business, please.
There are two ordinances on the agenda for introduction this evening. Ordinance O-48-2019, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the town of Morristown, Chapter 7, Traffic. May I have a motion to introduce, please?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number O-48-2019.
I'll second it.
Any comments from council members? Seeing none, call the question, please.
Okay. On the introduction of O-48-2019, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 48-2019 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing to be held on December 17th. Ordinance number O-49-2019, ordinance rescinding ordinance O-16-2019 and deleting a designated handicap parking space on Western Avenue from section 7-40.2 of the Code of the Town of Morristown. May I have a motion to introduce, please?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number O-49-2019.
I'll second it.
Any comments from council members? Seeing none, call the question, please.
On the introduction of 49-2019, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance O-49-2019 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing to be held on December 17th. There are no ordinance for adoption tonight. We do have 8 resolutions for adoption. Unless a member of council would like to pull one or several for separate consideration.
Can we pull 179 and 181?
Okay. Any others?
Did you pull 178?
Sure. Okay, I would amend that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes?
I meant 178 also. Thanks, Allison.
Oh.
You can put 179 in the lot.
Okay, I will amend that and ask for a motion to approve resolutions R 174 through 177, R 179, and that's it.
180.
And 180, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve those resolutions en masse.
I'll second it.
Bless you.
Councilman Armington.
I'm sorry. Can you also pull 181, please?
It's already been pulled, Councilwoman.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, we are adopting en masse resolutions 174 through 177, 179, and 180.
Yes.
Okay? We have a first and a second. Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb.
Yes.
Councilman Elms.
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Council President Foster.
Yes.
Those resolutions are adopted. Resolution R-178-2019, resolution supporting a preliminary preferred alternative for replacement of Morris County Martin Luther King Avenue Bridge over the Whippany River in the town of Morristown. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to
I'll make a
adopt
motion.
resolution number R-178-2019.
Okay, Councilwoman Deeb, I'll put you down for second.
Yeah, I just had a question. I don't know what Bob's questions were, but I just preliminarily was just wondering, did we collaborate with the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee on this, and as well as the county? And what exactly is the preferred alternative to the culvert that's there now?
Hi, this is Jillian. So Resolution 178 is a resolution supporting the preliminary preferred alternative design for the replacement of the bridge on MLK. The bridge is a county bridge, and the project is being led by the county Department of Engineering. They actually have a representative here, if you want to come up. The county's actually been embarking on a series of public information sessions. There have been several that have been held over the last year, both with stakeholder groups as well as the general public. They've been held in and around the MLK Bridge. I know I was at least a few between the Neighborhood House and Calvary Baptist Church. There was even one held at the trailhead at MLK. When the weather was still nice, and in an effort to gain as much input as possible from the general public in addition to stakeholders. We also had meetings with, several meetings with myself, our planning team, our engineer, public safety, police and fire have also been involved in reviewing the alternatives, and this was the alternative that was ultimately arrived at. Do you want to add input?
Could I make the recommendation, please, with the pleasure of the council, that we include the watershed group that represents the Whippany River? It's the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee. They've been in existence for 25 years, and they are the environmental group that presides over and they're the stewards for the Whippany River. Could I make a suggestion that we include them in the planning as well and in the discussion?
Councilwoman, the Whippany Watershed Action Committee was also included as part of the stakeholder group, and they've been communicated throughout this project as part of this.
Oh, excellent. I didn't hear you name that in your naming before, but thank you.
Certainly, the stakeholder group is probably 30 or 40 different groups in and around the community. So, but yes, they were included. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My question on this was even simpler than that. I think the only purpose of this is that they require Cole Avenue for a detour and the pedestrian access.
The purpose of this resolution is.
I know it's one of support.
Yes.
But go ahead.
I'm actually going to defer.
That's going to be my question if you.
I'm going to defer to our representative from the county. If you'll introduce yourself and.
Am I too short for this? You can hear me?
You just put it down a little bit if you need to. The mic. No, there you go.
Fair enough. Hello, my name is Danielle Frohn. I'm an engineer with Morris County, and I'm also the project manager of this particular project. To answer some of your questions, we have been working very closely with the state, including an environmental aspect of it, along with the town, to make sure that we reach out to the locals, keep the officials informed as to what decisions are being made, and every step of the way, we want input from as many people as we can, especially at this early stage. I have a sketch as to what the preferred alternative was. I have 5 here to see. It'll show what's existing now and what we propose to change when we go to construction in the future. Right now, in the purpose of this resolution of support is to basically get your buy-in, that we've kept everyone in the loop as to the design considerations, community needs, and things of that nature.
It's attached to the resolution in case you don't have a copy.
I do.
What's the current design?
Current design should actually be. So this is what you've got now. This is existing, and this is what we're changing it to.
So all kinds of debris and trees and stuff can get caught up.
This is existing here, I'm sorry. This is existing. Yeah, no, they're both existing. And this is what we're changing it to. Basically, we're not widening it very much. In fact, it's very close to what's existing now. We're just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. It's a very old bridge that's kind of had Band-Aids put on it.
Yep.
And it's
But it's a complete replacement of the bridge?
Yes, we have, at this point in this project, we studied whether or not it would be more beneficial to rehab the bridge that's existing or to do a complete replacement. And if we did a complete replacement, what would be the best design for it? And our team of engineers, myself included, have gone through various iterations, proposed things to the town, tried to get as much input to maximize the utility of this bridge in going forward.
There were 7 alternatives, I believe, that at least 7 that I recall.
Technically, it's 8.
8? Okay, it was 8. I lost count. And the alternative that was arrived at and ultimately before you was the best compromise between sidewalk width, because we know that there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, as well as making sure that we maintain as much of the road width as possible. So there's a modest shoulder on both sides, but there's also significantly a wide sidewalk on either side as well to try to maintain as much pedestrian access. That was really, I think, our biggest.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about pedestrians in this neighborhood, and I know that was a big emphasis on the design that's before you for support. So this is really a resolution of support that's required to move forward to the next stage, which is like a 2-year.
Yeah, so the
Design
next stage is the preliminary engineering, which will be roughly 18 months to 2 years. That followed by a final engineering, which will again be 18 months to 2 years. So construction will not be at the earliest until 2024. This is a federal process. They require us to do these things in order for us to get funding for the replacement, which is why we're doing such a long and intensive design process.
So is there any, in this proposal, is there any increase on the sidewalk, on the,
I think it's a little bit.
Not really.
just little?
It's a little.
Okay.
A little. There's not a lot of, so because of the river, there wasn't a lot of room to play with. So that was kind of the best we could do on both sides. We looked at doing like more on one side and less on another. We looked at a bunch of different iterations, but I think this is the best.
Does the design anticipate sort of half construction and to allow some level of maintenance of traffic, or we're not quite there yet?
It will have to be staged,
Okay.
mostly for the utilities.
Right.
It's a utility minefield out there.
Yeah.
So in order to do it properly, we're going to take our time, do it
Okay.
right. We will maintain pedestrian traffic at all stages of the construction. We are putting in a temporary pedestrian bridge to make it easy.
Right.
At the worst case scenario, when we have to move the bridge, because there will be times the pedestrian bridge will need to be moved, the detour is less than a mile.
Yeah.
A walk. We're not going to make that the main detour by any means, but if they don't feel like going through a construction site, it's not like a 5 mile or longer. And we try to keep those times at a very minimum.
I realize it can't be avoided, but during what's going to be the period of time that the car traffic over the bridge will be non-existent?
That will be throughout construction.
Throughout, so
It
the bridge
will-
is actually out for what period of time? Because you're maintaining pedestrian, and Cole Avenue
Yes.
does not facilitate, because there's no
It
other
would be
crossing from Cole.
We have coordinated with the town. They have agreed to turn Cole Avenue into two-way traffic and
Mhm.
detour it that way.
Yep.
So it will not create a crazy detour around. It will just
But will you be able to
utilize-
cross the river at that point? No.
Yeah.
You won't be able, can you?
Yeah.
You will be,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
As long as I can get on my.
You're on the other side of the river.
All right.
Well, thank you for,
I have a question. Is there any way on the bridge, it's really hard working remotely. I don't have the pictures or anything visual if you're sharing anything, but I've always envisioned like an opportunity for children to fish. Is there any way that we could include a barrier on the side of the vehicular traffic so that pedestrians are safer, and that if they wanted to, they could try to fish in the river? Is that a possibility?
At this point in this project, it's not included. Anything beyond the limits of what I've shown today, and I know you're not here to see, so I'm so sorry, but we're very restricted to the right-of-way. And to get to the fishable part of the river is outside of our right-of-way, and we are not currently exploring those options at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight and coming before us to answer questions on behalf of this resolution.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no other comments or questions, please call the question on the Okay. resolution. On the adoption of Resolution R-178-2019, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva? And
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution R-181-2019, appropriations transfer between 2019 budget appropriations. May I have a motion to introduce, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution R-181-2019.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions from council members? 181?
Oh,
I
yes.
think this was yours.
Thanks. I'm just looking at, Jillian, the shifting from fire department salary and wages to the fire department salary and wages from the, just, I guess, the salary and wage adjustment, was that a union move? Was it because of the new union contract? And was that a wage adjustment on the union contract?
Partially,
And
but this
were you
is,
merely moving the money from a pool to the specific allocation?
so the resolution before you is the transfer from insurance and salary wage adjustment to the fire department and about $10,000 to the clerk's office. The fire department is primarily three things. Part of it is the union contract approvals, but very minimally. Most of it was overtime driven by the 2 military deployments we had this year and the warming center staffing that was a lot more expensive than we anticipated. We had well over $100,000 already, even, actually, and this was a couple months ago. And that's before we had several more Code Blue days within the last couple of months. So between those two, and then we had a couple of storm incidents as well that drove up overtime in the fire department that was well in excess of what we anticipated, which is what's driving this transfer.
With the new budget, are you looking at the possibility of actually not funding it with overtime, but actually per diems, part-timers, or
We are,
some other
yes.
alternative?
I'm looking at several different alternatives. We're also trying to get the county to work with us as well.
That's a good point.
We may also try to partner with some agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
who can
jump in,
provide
let me
this.
jump in there. Jillian, do you all understand what the law is?
Oh, that we have to have the warming center.
Yeah, well, so do other towns, but I don't think that's happening.
No.
So we have complained to the county that other towns are not following the required law, and we are getting an overrun from people from all over the county. And that each town has their own respective, what's the word? Responsibility,
Other obligation.
and their obligation to do what we do. So again, I'm going to speak to the county, and they'll hear it from us. The fire chief has brought it to our attention more than once, that other towns are not holding up their responsibility and obligation, and that's causing a financial burden on our town. That's including Parsippany, Dover, and other communities. So that has to be addressed by the county, because they're in violation of the law.
And let us know if you need any help with that, Mayor.
Bob, I know I will.
Because I don't think it's just the warming center. I think because of us being Morristown, where we are, a lot of the services that we provide actually extend beyond, and the county should be stepping up a little bit more for the town of Morristown. I agree with you. So.
Mayor, I have a question about this transfer. I don't know if it's included or not, but the last couple of meetings, there was the rejection of the Foots Pond hydro raking bid, and that money was appropriated at the April-May budget. last year, at the hearing last year. And I just was wondering was any of that money appropriated? Is that money being transferred, or what is the status of that money?
Councilman Deeb, this is Jillian. There was a capital ordinance that was passed earlier this year allocating $350,000 towards the hydro raking implementation project. The bids exceeded $500,000 at both times that we went out to bid. So the proposals we received well exceed the money that was appropriated. However, we are moving forward with.
I'm just trying to understand, so what does that mean exactly? What's the status then of the project? Are we gonna restructure the bid specifications? Are we gonna redesign the bid specs? Are we gonna try to look for additional bidders? What does that mean?
We're in the process of negotiating directly with the vendors now that we've gone out to bid both twice and they've exceeded the budget amount. We're now in the process of negotiating with the vendors to craft a project that is within the monies that have been allocated.
So do we think that we'll be able to fund the project with the money that's allocated, or will we have to do a phased multi-year approach, or is it likely that we'll be able to do the work with the money that was appropriated?
I believe that we'll be able to accomplish a significant portion of the work with the money allocated, although clearly that's pending our negotiation. However, given the bids that we received, it's possible that we might need to phase it out over a couple of years. However, we're going to do our best to negotiate a project within the monies that have been allocated already.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, if there are no more comments or questions from council members at this time, call the question, please.
On the adoption of Resolution R-181-2019, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. At this time, we have no old or unfinished business, no new business. So if there are no other comments from council members, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.